Paddy, we're very well aware that our sector, tourism and hospitality, has been one of the hardest hit by the current COVID-19 crisis. So I'm pleased to be able to launch a programme of support for our tourism and hospitality sector that the team here at Visit Buckinghamshire is now able to offer, thanks to a partnership with Be the Business, but also with Buckinghamshire Business First. Primarily, the support is aimed at to help your businesses survive and be ready to bounce back when the time comes. And the event scheduled, we hope, will allow the businesses to connect with like-minded businesses, share experiences, knowledges, top tips, and ultimately help one another. We've got a great session lined up this morning with a short presentation from Sally at Retail Revival, who's been instrumental in setting up the Risborough basket. And we'll also hear from Jim from Orchard View Farm, who took his business online in a record-breaking 36 hours in response to COVID. There'll also be an opportunity for Q&A at the end of the session, so please don't be shy.
So I'm Sally, my company is Retail Revival, and I've been asked to speak today on, have you got my slide up?
Yeah, hang on a sec.
Getting your business online. So if we go to the next slide, so I'm not in control of this, that's brilliant. So I was contracted to work for Princess Risborough Town Council on pretty much the day that COVID really affected the high street. About 10 years ago, I did quite a bit of work in Princess Risborough with the businesses, but mostly now I work with high streets, predominantly in London, delivering high street regeneration programs, which can have an impact on the public realm, the build of shops, so things like shop front signage, etc., and also providing business support programs for predominantly independent businesses and shopping centres. And I also do a fair bit of decant, so we go into areas that are being demolished to make way for new developments and help those businesses find new homes. So I started in Princess Risborough, I'd say, just at the beginning of April, and we had an automatic and quite catastrophic impact on the high street, and I managed just about to make contact and engage with all of the businesses in the high street in the town. And as they were closing their doors, I realised that many of them didn't have an online presence at all. Some had website shops, some of them, and some used social media a little bit, and some were prepared to be really proactive and diversify quickly, but the majority really just wanted to shut the doors, obviously, and go home, so didn't really want to be in the shop or on the high street in any format. So what we did is we set up something called the Risborough Basket, which I'll talk to you about, but some of the options for businesses in this position, sometimes diversification can be a solution, so finding new ways to use your premises. I've noticed there's a few pubs, I live near St Albans, and some of those pubs have started opening and they're providing cold beer and sandwiches, etc., in a socially distanced, controlled way. So you queue up, you get your cold beer, and you have to then move on with it. It's not ideal. And I also understand the B&B and the Airbnb market. I have my own Airbnb business, and that's obviously completely stopped. So any income, and from the moment COVID came to probably, we're looking at September at least, until people feel confident, or we feel confident about letting people into our accommodation. So if you move on, we've been helping businesses get online. I work closely with a company called EMSL, which is a digital marketing and website design company, and they've been helping people. So setting up a shop is one thing online, but there's multiple considerations. So you really have to understand a little bit about technology. The best way to set up your own online shop is you're completely familiar with how to do the content management yourself, so that you can make changes there and then, rather than having to rely on somebody at a distance to do that for you. It really does depend on the quality of your photographs. A lot of shops really successful if they spend a lot of money or time on imagery. So you can take your own photographs well, and there's lots of online tutorials that show you how to do that. So what we do is we help you write the shop and empower you to update this platform yourself. But there are multiple considerations. You do have to work out how you're going to fulfill the orders safely, how you're going to get the stock to sell. And there is a supply chain. So you do need staff to do this. And also people aren't just going to find you. You have to really let people know that your shop is online and you are open for business. So it's not enough to just have a website. You have to use multiple channels of communication. And there's other ways you can sell online using things like Facebook, eBay. You can set up your own Wix website relatively cheaply. So if anybody is interested in getting online and setting up a shop, and I don't think that really applies to the delegates here today, but we can definitely point you in the right direction and give you some free advice on how you would do that. So the next slide is something I really think, if it's coming. Next, that's it, lovely. Everyone can do really quickly, and we're working with businesses in Princess Risborough to help them use digital marketing. Now, it is a slow burn, so it's easy to get up online using digital marketing through Instagram, Facebook, whichever platform you think is appropriate for your business. But to get proper followers that are actually going to convert into sales is not an overnight thing, and you really have to work at it. So I've used this, this is Peterlee Farm, the Strawberry Cafe there, and this is a really good example of a company that's built a really strong following. So when they did go online with their box scheme and their high teas that you can buy, they had already got a following. So what they did was they have their own box scheme, as I know Orchard View, you have yours as well. And if you move forward another step, what Katie started to do over at Peterlee is her own online tutorials. So she has a kitchen that she's set up, you know, to look nice. And she's very new to this, but she started making some of the recipes, food that she sells in her shop. And she's got some phenomenal followers. Like this one had, look, over 1,000 people watched this demonstration. And you're not always going to make, so there's two benefits to this. You might buy the cake that she makes, or you might think, actually, I'm not going to buy it. I'll just go and buy it from her. So, and she's getting her name out there. People really love watching anything related to food, cookery, etc. So we've got quite a few businesses in Princess Risborough who are really learning how to use video and start doing demonstrations. So for example, if you sell art and craft materials, or if you brew beer or make wine, showing people how that's done and really putting a personality to your business is quite key. And you can make videos very well, very cheaply. You don't have to have really expensive equipment. You just need your iPhone, if you've got one, or a phone, a camera, a good source of sound, probably a lapel mic. It doesn't even have to be a wireless one, but iPhone sounds really good as well. And it's just understanding lighting. So even when you're on a video call like this, it's where the lighting source is coming from, and looking at your environment and thinking, does that really represent my business? So it's all about creating a lifestyle and getting your message over there. So we've set up at the Princess Centre a demonstration kitchen and photo studio to help all of our businesses access the technology if they don't have it, the lighting, a demonstration kitchen, and a light box studio for them to be able to take photographs of their stock, or of their food, or whatever they're selling. And that's all provided free from Princess Risborough Town Council. So they've invested in that small amount of technology to help people if they don't have it themselves. But quite often you can stay at home and just do your demos, your podcasts, tell people how to do things. But all of your videos should have a message and a call to action. So you should be trying to get people to buy now, book now, you know, whatever you want them to do, so you can convert into sales. So next slide is something. So if people don't want to set up or haven't got the resources to set up an online shop or get used to using social media, we think that the town centre based online portal model is very cheap. It's incredibly quick to get set up, and we found that in Princess Risborough it works phenomenally well. So the Risborough Basket's an online platform. It's town-based, so you log on to the website. Every single business that wants to have a profile on there is free. It's free to do it. I help them set up their profile. So they complete a form giving me the information I need. I then do the content management, and in time they'll be able to manage that profile themselves. So as well as being online, the town council's also set up a free delivery service. So what they do is somebody will phone, so they access this portal, and if you go on to the next page, you will see what the shop sees. So this is just a few of the shops on board, and what we did is we took a simple portrait photograph. So if you know the cook shop, you know the people that work in it, it instantly becomes personal. And you think, oh, brilliant. And you click on that and it takes you through to their profile page, and it tells you how you can order and how you can receive the goods. So if you go onto Princess Pets, click on it, you'll come to Sam's page. You can phone Sam. Sam's in the shop between 10 and 2 o'clock. Now, if you're a non-essential business, you have to shut your doors. You can't let people in, but you can still go to your place of work and take phone calls. So you take orders, and you put them in specially sealed bags that the council gives you with a label on, Risborough Basket label, and you fill out the label and you put all of the goods that you've parcelled up on the pavement at 2 o'clock, and then a team of our volunteers comes along, picks those goods up, and then takes them to a distribution centre at the Princess Centre, and then distributes that along with the fruit and veg box scheme to all of the houses the same day. So every single one of these businesses can take orders now, and they'll be delivered to our customers right across our borough. So it's Princess Risborough, Monks Risborough, and all of the villages that day. So the next slide. So this is one of the portals. So Tracy Mann Cakes, she's a really good example of someone that's adapted and is storming business-wise. So she's got a very effective social media, as you can see. She's put some things on the website, the basket. So she makes these beautiful cake bouquets, and you can order them in certain sizes. But she also does online tutorials. She sits and does a Facebook Live tutorial on how to ice a cupcake, for example, and then watches her screen light up as everyone's trying to buy all of the components and the materials to make what she's just made online. So that's how it works. If you go on to the next slide, we have then done, it's only been a few weeks, so we've been up for 6 weeks. Tracy is in Longwick. Yes, she is. Please do use her. She's really excellent. And Longwick businesses can, so how we did it is anybody that has a shop in our high street, or shops or uses our farmers market as a stall holder, or has in the past, can have access to this free of charge. We have a farmers market. So what we've now done is, because a lot of our farmers markets didn't want a constant presence, we had a farmers market week. So our farmers market should have been on the 16th this week, but we can't hold that actually in reality. So we asked all of the farmers markets to send in their profiles, and we did about a week's promotion, so people could buy from the farmers market all week, and then we delivered them on Saturday across our borough. So people as far as Aylesbury, High Wycombe, etc. participated in that. We can use the platform to do other things. So we've got an online high street survey on there. So if people click on that box on our website, they get taken straight through to a survey that helps people identify or tell us their experiences of using Princess Risborough High Street out of lockdown. So the council is already busy planning how they can improve the high street in the future, and how we can communicate with our shops and businesses and say this is actually what local people would like to see from our high street to make those improvements. And we also had a VE Day 75 baking competition with the cook shop. We had over 20 entries, people making cakes looking like, or flags, etc. They were really phenomenal. Okay, so the next slide shows you how. So this was our farmers market, and what we do is we put a border around the promotion of the businesses that are taking part in our farmers market to distinguish them from the businesses that are on there already. Next week you'll see we're having a promotion on Father's Day, so any business on our platform that's got a special Father's Day offer will become blue with Father's Day offer on. So it's a way that we keep getting hits and people keep getting interested in our site and using us. So the next slide tells you if for example you wanted one of these in your town, they cost about £2,000 to set up, design, get the domain name, and get the support to help you do this. So we design it. We have a Risborough, we have the basket logo. So it's Risborough basket, Henley basket have got it, Hitchin basket is just going live. So if you wanted your own Chalfont basket, for example, we have the brand identity and that's supplied to you as part of the package. So we set up the site. We can also help you get the businesses online by doing the business engagement, etc. They order by phone, they stay at home, they get free same-day delivery. So the next slide shows you our analytics. So this was just last week. And as you can see that we had over 11,000 page views. We've done over 2,000 box deliveries. We've had a phenomenal amount of actual deliveries from our high street as well. And you can see that we've got quite a long dwell time on our website and a lot of people return. If you go to the next slide, it tells you how many people have used our website since it started in April. So we've had over 11,000 users and 79,000 page views. So it's really successful. What we're doing now is people are saying, can we continue with the delivery service after COVID? And so we are. So we're looking at developing an app so that commuters on the train can order when they're coming home. They can order from our shops and then we'll deliver them free of charge that same day. Princess Risborough Town Council is looking at buying a van which is refrigerated so that we can make deliveries for our butcher, for example, because currently they have to make their own deliveries because of the cold chain. So there's plans to keep it going long after COVID has ended, and now more shops are coming on board. So we've added another 2 this week, and as they start to return and feel more comfortable about visiting their shop even behind closed doors, we will soon populate the website with all of our businesses. And there's just a very short 2-minute film that will just show you what our distribution centre looks like, if you want to play that now. You hear the sound? Can anyone hear? Can you hear the sound there? No. If I explain, this is the former mayor, Alan Turner, who's really taken control of the distribution centre. And as you can see, all of the produce is laid out in alphabetical order. And people phone into a team of 3 volunteers. We have 50 volunteers that are all local residents or councillors, and they've either been furloughed and can't work actually in their place of work, can do voluntary work. So we operate social distancing, and as people phone up, we create an order from them, that's printed, it goes to the packer who walks around, packs up his trolley, and then it's delivered in bags. We should see that in a minute. Oh, maybe not, it's going really slowly. But you get the drift, and we get our produce from our market trader, so Colin Broomhead, sells all the fruit and veg at our markets generally. So he brings that up from London, getting it local where he can as well, but obviously not the pineapples. I think that's probably everything I've got to say.
Sorry guys, I couldn't unmute myself. It wasn't coming up to the screen. Thanks, Sally. We'll do some Q&A shortly. Jim, do you just want to step in, as you've been able to pivot your business as a result of COVID-19? You've been incredibly busy as a result. Can you just, in a nutshell, just share the highs and lows of your journey on how you took your business online, if that's all right?
Certainly, yes. So prior to coronavirus, we had a nice little, it was a small, very small farm shop. I had one butcher, quite a nice busy butcher's counter, and a really good cafe. The cafe was probably around 65% of my turnover. I mean, still relatively small in terms of the size of some of the cafes around here. Some of the other sort of checkbook farm shops that we've got around here have got sort of hundreds of seats. I think my indoor space is about 50 seats. Prior to, or as coronavirus was starting to ramp up, less people were coming into the cafe. We started taking phone orders. We had 3 phones and they were pretty much in constant use from when we opened the lines to when we closed them. And it became apparent that we needed another way to access or for the customers to access us and what we were doing. So my website at the time had a picture of a pig on it. It had my menu and a few things about sort of pizzas and things like that, but it was a basic build yourself website from a company called Squarespace. One of my friends who happened to be in the shop at the time said, "Oh, I'll take a look at it for you and see what we can do." Turns out for £30 a month, I could buy a bolt-on e-commerce shop to my website. So with orders increasing all the time, we put together an e-commerce shop within 36 hours. And we were beta testing it at about 11 o'clock at night, and it was hidden on my website with a dead link, with just a hidden link. And as we were testing it, people were finding it and putting orders in, despite the fact it was in beta test mode. So that was customers actually finding it. So we just had to essentially hold hands, pray, and hit the go live button. Within, I think it was about 8 hours, we did about £5.5 grand's worth of business on that site. We didn't have a busting lot on there, but people were very much desperate for food. So we had a little bit of a panic. I shut the website for 12 hours because we didn't have the fulfillment process or the staff or the processes and procedures. We then got the website restarted. We did have to take it down a couple of times just because of volumes. I can only liken my experience with that as to jumping off the cliff and building the plane on the way down. It was quite, I mean, it was a hell of an experience for myself and my staff. I can look back and say it was quite enjoyable. But at the time it was incredibly stressful. Why I'm wearing a cap, A, because I can't get a haircut, but also I've got some grey hairs as well now. But I'm hoping, or the thought is a bit like with Risborough Basket, people are asking us, are we going to be keeping this on? Are we going to be keeping it on? And my thoughts are just is that with Risborough Basket, I'm sure there's some sort of tie-up that we can do there, because there's no point in both of us buying a delivery van, just as a thought. So it's been quite exciting like that. The volumes have now sort of decreased now, a bit like, again, the analytics that we saw from Sally there. But it's sort of plateaued out, but people are still very much wanting to buy online. And compared to some sort of like Peter Lee and people like that, our online, our e-commerce site is still quite basic, but it's still doing sort of good business for us. But I suppose the key things for me are that the businesses who can pivot quickly are the ones who can adapt and survive and thrive in this. And I mean, we've doubled our turnover throughout this, despite having lost the cafe, which was 65% of my turnover. So we more or less doubled the turnover, and that is also one of the key things, is keeping the prices really keen. I mean, we can't compete with the sort of free delivery and things like that, because we have the costs associated with that as a business. But the actual products that we supply, we have brought all the prices back down now, because only one went up to us. We brought all those back down, and it's very important that the businesses are seen to not be profiteering from this, because there have been some that have profiteered, and I think they will suffer later on, because I'm hoping that people will remember that they profiteered, and that that some of us others have not. So that's it. But also more local businesses working together, and more people buying locally and looking to source locally, I think are going to be some of the good things that can come out of this. But it's going to be down to us all capitalizing on this seismic customer shift. Yes, a fair number will just filter back to the supermarkets, happens, but actually there's a good enough number that I think that we as locals can keep. We can definitely keep together. And just on the tourism side of things, we've used, there's so much funding out there at the moment, it's worth just sort of a nod to that. If you haven't applied for your bounce back loans and things like that, just do it. It's very easily done. I think my loan took me 7 minutes to apply for. Plus there's all the grants from the loan. Well, it's all government money, but coming from the councils. But definitely have a look at those, because those are helping me to transform my business here, and both to diversify it, but also to build in a level of resilience. So for instance, my cafe being small, I can't really open that in the winter, or won't be able to open that really in the winter with the social distancing in place, because I'll only have about 14 or 15 seats, which is not worth me doing. So I'm thinking that what we're trying to do is we're trying to transform our outdoor spaces into more indoor spaces to do that. So there's a whole range of planning. But if we can plan for the future, spot future trends, and get on those, so do a bit of thinking about, well, how are people going to be behaving after this? And when we say after this, I mean the NHS are planning for this to last for at least 18 months. So we've barely started in terms of the actual timelines. And it's almost, it feels to me a bit like the Wild West out there at the moment. It's almost gold rush territory, and the gold rush is not the right term, because it sounds like you're profiteering, but it's that Wild West. You can, everything's up in the air. The way people are behaving, the way they're buying, what they're going to be going on holiday, all these sorts of things. The opportunities. My problem is in a way, which opportunities do I take as a business owner? And I find that incredibly exciting for this time. So there's hideous negativity in this whole situation, but there is some real, and we've seen there from Sally and what's been going on with the Risborough Basket, the people who are prepared to not just spin the sign and head home and hide under the bed, that there are opportunities out there for almost all industries. You just got to kind of look for it and hunt it down. I could ramble on for ages about it, but I'm not going to, because it's my thing. I'm sure there's much more that said. But if anybody wants to contact me afterwards, I'm more than happy for my details to be shared. I can't promise to get back to everybody straight away. And if you don't hear from me on the first try, do try again. It's just because a little bit swamped at the moment. But I'm happy to share any experiences from it. But the key things are look for the opportunities, and if we can all work together, then we can create a strong local offering to keep people buying locally. I always say to people, if you buy locally, typically 80 to 90 pence in your pound stays.
Oh, thanks.
if you buy in the large multiples, about 7 to 8 pence stays local. So I think that's probably my time done. Lots of rambling, but do feel free to contact me if you want to afterwards.
So just thank you for coming along today. It's I do appreciate you joining in. I think there's an awful lot of webinars going on at the moment, but as I say, we're keen to really support the tourism and hospitality businesses. We want to get this collaboration going. We want to get communication going between people, and as I say, it's sharing ideas, it's inspiring one another, it's supporting one another. Just wanted to point out a few things that we've got coming out. We've got about to kick off some mastermind sessions where you can join a group of like-minded businesses weekly for a regular 90-minute session. That's really going to be focused on how we open. What does reopening look like? So if you are interested, then you can let us know. We've also got a few slots still available with a tourism and hospitality expert, John Yanton. These are 30-minute calls with him, and again, he will just give you some great ideas into your business. I know, Jim, you've been on one, Jay, you've been on one, and I think
very good.
That's very beneficial. So please, it's a free 30 minutes with an excellent tourism and hospitality specialist, so I cannot recommend that enough. We will also be doing our hospitality masterclasses. We'll be moving online again. I know some of you have attended those, but for those who haven't, these are again led by John Yanton. They were a 4.5 5-hour session around 5 core subjects such as leadership and strategy, digital marketing, people and teams. And again, it's about getting people in a room together, learning some textbook theory, I guess, for want of a better word, but then applying it back into your businesses. And the whole ethos of these masterclasses are small things can make a big difference in your business. We've got another tourism and power hour scheduled. I think it's the 24th of June, and that will probably be on digital marketing or virtual tours. So again, if people can't come to your business, how can you take your product out to a wider audience? So that will have a couple of presenters on that. And also just to point out to a few of you who are in the tourism and hospitality field, Visit Britain have got their English Tourism Week commencing the 25th of May. This is a week-long celebration of all things great in the UK visitor economy. It's a great way now, I think, for us to get behind our tourism industry, and it's all about support English tourism. So please do have a look on that website, visitbritain.org, English Tourism Week, on how you and your business can get involved in really flying the flag for English tourism. And just if any of you don't have a listing on Visit Buckinghamshire, please do sign up. Not only will it give you a profile on the website, but also it will keep you up to date with communications like this. And I think, is there anything else on that last bit of the slide, or have I covered everything off, Paula?
Everything is covered. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think that's it from me. If I can ask you to complete the survey, that would be fantastic. And yeah, the next one is on the 24th of June at 11 o'clock. But thank you very much, guys. I do appreciate you joining us, and I hope you found it beneficial.